So my name is Lydia Skonenberg. I am the program manager, as you mentioned, for startup support at the Magnuson Center. The Magnuson Center really is sort of the platform, the lightning rod for everything related to entrepreneurship on campus. So we serve students, we serve faculty members, staff, and we serve alums. And my specific position, I'm focused on providing support from the educational perspective to students and campus members about how to start up a business, how to run an effective business. And I do this by, in a structured way. So I'm boots on the ground operational support for a new cancer center accelerator. There is an incubator at Tuck, and those are both educational programs really geared towards teaching somebody, the A to Z's. How do I start with an idea? And how do I translate this and have impact in the world? In those two programs, we do that by bringing in, structured programming. So we have outside experts. We have really a strong Dartmouth alumni base in entrepreneurship. And we make those connections and people accessible to each other. So that way they can make those connections, have those conversations. And, we also provide, technical support. If somebody has a question, about a specific legal question that we have, we can put them in touch with lawyers. And so we really view ourselves as a connection point, for the entrepreneurs and for people who are able to provide the answers that maybe the entrepreneurs are looking for. Before I took on this role, I was co-founder and CEO of an early stage medtech startup that was actually a spin out from the Thayer School. So it was basically engineering based. So my background is both on the technical and the business end. During my sessions with startups, I tend to be more of a generalist. So I ask a lot of pointy questions, right, about business model and, how do you serve your customers? Who are your customers? And you find that there are really, it's really the same patterns of thought that apply whether or not you're building a high-tech business to, service-based. It's, do you really understand who your customer is, and do you understand how to reach them and how to provide value to them? And at the end of the day, that's really the core of what a business is, right? It's delivering value to somebody. And it's making sure that you can build a sustainable model by making money.
She was very helpful to me and said that she would also get someone else who would be very helpful, who was Roy, and I don't know how to pronounce your last name.
My last name is Petafar. And I'm the founder for a small startup right now that offers personalized one-on-one technology help for people who want to learn more about their day-to-day technology use. It's called Clary.
Roya, how did she help you?
She's gonna say I didn't.
Sure.
No. Yeah.
No, Lydia was really great to speak to. It was me and one of my co-founders who I've been working closely with during the meeting, and it was a very quick meeting, but it was really well organized, and you could tell not only with Lydia but with the two other Dartmouth alums that I spoke to, it was curated for my business and for my experience. All the alums and founders that I spoke to were women. One of them had a very similar business platform to what we have, so it was really helpful. Not only speaking to Lydia, but the entire experience was really helpful. Lydia, you and I kind of went right into the nitty gritty of my business plan, which was definitely I hadn't spoken to anyone quite like that yet, and it was really exciting for me to not only have that conversation, but also kind of realize, oh no, I do know the answers, even when I'm kind of put on the spot like that. So just overall, a lot of really great feedback. It was a really wonderful experience. My co-founder and I still talk about it, just saying how awesome and inspirational all of the women that we spoke to were. Target audience is actually older adults. We are looking to connect older adults to people in my generation for daily tech learning. So the inspiration behind what I'm working on actually came from COVID and from my experience working with my grandmother. She is across the country, she's in California, and it was a difficult switch for her to move from the normal way of life to being very isolated. And I was finding that the difference for me is that I grew up in a digital world. I speak computer language, like it makes sense And she was having a lot of challenges switching to the life that I'm very used to. So she was calling me very frequently and saying, you know, how do I do this and this, and just daily technology use that there was suddenly a very large urgency to learn how to do. And my experience with her kind of got me thinking, and I was thinking to myself, you know, this must not be just me. There has to be more people out there who are also having a lot of challenges switching into the post-COVID way of life that we're already experiencing and are about to continue to experience. One of the solutions that we were thinking about is using intergenerational connections, saying you have an entire audience of people who are young and who understand technology because they grew up with it. Why don't you use the resources that they have to offer to help the people who have questions, just like me and my grandmother? So that's kind of the root of the inspiration. And from there, we also really like to focus on collaboration. We want to make sure that it's a safe space for people to ask questions. And as well as we do have a focus on memory retention by offering follow-up written and visual guides that will take a user step by step to help them accomplish the task that they learned in a learning session.
There are many people in Osher who are challenged by Zoom and other things, including the new life, physical life, isolation. How would they contact you, and what would be the cost of your service?
Yeah, they can contact us either via my email, or they can go onto our website, which I can send you the link for. And there's a connect button on that website, and it's just they fill out a little bit of information, and then can give us, and then we'll receive that, and we will reach out to them and ask them some more questions and get them started with our coach. The pricing right now is so actually this kind of ties back into where Lydia came in. We are working on, we just finished our first beta test for the product, and we are working on making some adjustments. So, but right now we are working on more of a structured class, as well as if anyone wants to come in and just ask some specific questions. So, and by come in, I mean have a Zoom call. We're still working very remotely right now. So our individual questions, if someone wants to just come to us with a list of questions that they need resources on, or that are just involving their daily tech use, we can take a look at that and try to help them to the best of our ability, as well as send them any resources that we might use that they might find helpful. More structured one-on-one kind of package sessions, which will be if they want to learn more about a specific topic, such as if they want to come to us and have one-on-one sessions on how to learn Zoom, or how to learn how to clean up their computer. We're working on kind of curating packages for people to work with that are a little bit more structured, and that offer kind of the questions that they didn't even know they had, so that they can approach learning their technology without having to think about their daily tech use and really come up with the questions themselves.
Not just Zoom. What else is it besides the Zoom focus that you're trying to coach?
Yeah, we are looking at, right now we're still getting our structured classes together. We have been looking at the trends of what people have come to us with so far. Right now we're thinking about just basic computer organization and management. That has been a question that we've been seeing a lot: how to organize files into folders, what is a desktop, how to throw away files, and how to go through the files that you've downloaded. Those are a lot of questions that we get, as well as some other questions have been how to use Google Suite, like Google Docs, and or just Gmail in general. A lot of our users really like to use their email for communication, and they want to understand the ins and outs of how to send an email, how to send an attachment with an email, or how to hyperlink in an email. So we're thinking about kind of just bundling those sessions into structured sessions, so people don't have to come in and have to think about so many questions.
And you also mentioned, I think, daily life. I think you mentioned something about podcasts, like in the new COVID world, about how to enhance. Osher is a great fit. So this is why I invited Roya, because I think that she really aligns with some of your missions and what it is that you're trying to do. but it's also, you know, how do you enrich your life, you know, by using technologies that do exist in our generation, like podcasts, right? So it's really common for me and maybe Roya to listen to a podcast, you know, commuting to classes and whatnot. But, you know, it's, what is a podcast? How do you look them up? And they're basically just, you know, audio recordings, but there's a whole suite of, you know, pre-recorded NPR sessions that are available, right, through Apple and through, you know, some of the platforms that exist that you might be able to access.
Our website right now is ready for our first phase. We're making a couple adjustments, which should be ready to go in a couple of weeks.
Yes, absolutely. Terrific idea. I'm sure that so many people in our group could use this to their advantage, because there's some that are right spot on and some people who just don't even know how to turn on their computer. And there are people in our group that aren't computer literate. And I'm absolutely amazed you cannot find somebody's name without knowing how to work the computer.
And sometimes you still have trouble getting a hold of them, right, Joan?
Still, and there's 18 Joan Hartwells, yes.
The other observation that we've had is that the relationship building aspect of our service, which is not something that we really prioritize as a part. I mean, it's a great it's a great add-on to our service, but that is something that has been so valuable to our users as well, is the especially since right now this is kind of a small town business. It's rooted in Hanover. A lot of our clients are from Hanover, and I grew up in Hanover, so one of our clients is actually my kindergarten teacher. So it's like did a full circle, and just I think for a lot of our clients, sitting down and talking to someone new and kind of hearing about their experience, the same experience that you were talking about, Joan, with the Aging Resource Center, that's a huge added benefit to our clients, especially right now where a lot of our clients aren't really communicating with a lot of outside people and beyond their friends and family. So that was a huge, definitely an added factor and a big observation that we had. And another one was memory retention. The issue isn't that our clients aren't willing to take the steps to learn or don't have that they don't have the motivation to learn. A lot of the issue is that they sit down, they learn, and then they can't remember how they accomplished the task that they last learned, which is, again, it's like learning new language, where a lot of what we're trying to teach is logic based. So you don't need to learn the ins and outs of every single task on a computer. You just kind of have to learn how the computer thinks and line up your actions with that. So we're trying to create our guides to tackle the memory retention pillar of all of this, and as well as create the guides in a way that they can be used in different ways as well. So kind of abstract the problem and say, well, this specific task, the motions of this task can be used in different tasks as well. So it's kind of trying to translate the logic as well as that specific task that they've been learning. So far we've had a lot of success with our clients. And one client that I've been working with for a couple of months now came to me the other day and was like, I started to realize that I've been able to do what we've been taught just on my own without really thinking about it. And that's kind of the logic part of the lessons being translated over. We background check our coaches, and all of our coaches go through a training session. The training session really focuses on empathy-driven teaching and making sure that you understand your users before approaching teaching them about patience and about problem solving kind of on the fly, which is something that we see a lot, as well as not reinventing the wheel. A lot of the resources that we need in order to teach are available to us just using a Google search. So really take advantage of your resources, and kind of a lot of what we teach is not only just the task itself, but also how to find a solution to that task. So if someone comes to us with a problem that we don't know the answer to off the top of our head, we say, that's a really great question. Let's do the research together, because I don't know that off the top of my head. And it's okay not to know off the top of your head, but you have all of these resources available to you.
Oh my, I'm absolutely blown away by the answers to your questions, Richard. No, I really don't have any. I'm just wondering if they could teach a class.
That's the next question.